Well, this year we've been growing cauliflowers. It's the first time in 2 years that we've tried to grow them. Last year we didn't bother. The year before that we grew them, but they were rather miserable. But this year we've had a really good crop from them, and we've had some great produce, big heavy hearts and flowers to them, and we're very pleased with the crop. So back in the kitchen we're going to try out a few different recipes and show you how to use up this great glut of cauliflowers. Well, this is one of the many cauliflowers that we've picked from the allotment. We've got absolutely loads of them, and to use up the glut we have done a search for all sorts of recipes for cooking with cauliflowers, and the first one that we're going to have a go with is aloo gobi. Well, the first thing you need to do is to take 3 medium-sized potatoes, chop them and then boil them, but don't boil them for too long, just for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're just about to start softening up. Right, whilst you're waiting for the potatoes to boil, you can prepare the onion. So chop about half a modest size onion, or maybe 1 or 2 small onions, just chop them finely. You'll need the juice of about, well, it's about a tablespoonful of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and then you need to chop the cauliflower into its different florets as well. Well, we're not going to use the whole of the cauliflower that we've picked because they're just coming off the allotment in such a huge size. So I've used about 2/3 of the one that we were using, that I was chopping a moment ago. So we've got about this quantity here. Now basically the recipes that we found are based on sort of your typical supermarket sized cauliflower, which are slightly smaller than these things we've been getting off the allotment. If I put any more of this in, we'll be overdosing on it. Now what you also need to do is put in some ginger. Now you can use a bit of root ginger, some ginger powder, use it to taste. The recipes that we've looked at give sort of various different quantities depending on which recipe we've been trying to follow. What we're going to do is we're going to use this bit of ginger root, actually about half of this ginger root, so we're actually doing this as fresh, so we'll need to grate this and well, peel it and grate it, and that's the next stage that I've got, because in a moment, but I'm just looking at the cooker there and those potatoes look just about ready. Okay, we'll just have a quick run through of the spices. Obviously I mentioned before the ginger, but you've also got, you need a teaspoonful of ground coriander, which is this one here, a teaspoonful of ground cumin, half a teaspoonful of turmeric, and a quarter of a teaspoonful of ground cloves, and obviously there was, as I was waving around a moment ago, a couple of bay leaves. These are fresh from the garden, but you can use dried ones as well. Right, the next job is to get 3 tablespoonfuls of olive oil and put it into a deep pan and then heat it, and once it's heated up you need to add the spices. So we start with the ginger, and then add in the dried spices. And you need to cook these for about 30 seconds before adding in the cauliflower, onion and potatoes. I think that should be ready any moment now. Start with the potatoes. Here comes the cauliflower and the onion. After about 3 minutes and regular stirring, add in the bay leaves plus the lemon juice and about 1/3 of a cup or mug of water, and give it another stir, and then you need to put a lid on the pan and allow it to cook for about 5 to 8 minutes, or until the cauliflower is tender and cooked. Okay, let's see how this has got on. Ooh, hot out of the pan. But yeah, actually not bad. Yeah. Well, this is my dinner for tonight, so but I have to confess this is the first time I've made it, because we've never been able to grow cauliflowers before in any decent quantity on the allotment. I've never really been able to grow cauliflowers before because they've always failed. So now that they're working, they're growing well, and we've got a glut of them, then we're having to dig up all sorts of recipes that we've never tried before. So aloo gobi has worked rather well.